Holy sucks. Double upload, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, something just popped up on my screen. Okay. I think this one will go pretty quick as well, so I decided to double upload it. Welcome back to part 3 of Journey to Becoming a Good Partner. A series where I take you on this journey of what I'm learning in terms of relationships and as a man, and teach you and see if you can take some out of it, and see if it's helpful. Let's dive right in. Why I say it like that? I'm just gonna tell you about this. Part number 3, humility. Now, humility, if you don't know, it's the act of humbling yourself and being humble, not being super flexy and stuff, and not really trying to put yourself above other people. Me personally, I think I do a good job with this, although there are times where I puff up my chest sometimes and kind of put myself above people in certain situations, like muscle wise, because I'm a decently big dude, and sometimes I put people down, not intentionally, but in my head, kind of think that they're like under me because I'm bigger than them. It's not all the time. Okay, I've worked quite a bit in this, but life happens, and I'm only human, and it sometimes happens. Now, how does this tie in with relationships? Well, when it comes down to maybe having like a disagreement, or even outside of relationships too, I think it's good to have this humble mindset. Try not to fake it. Like, don't fake being humble, please. Because I don't know of people personally and by name. I know I've met somebody that pretends to be humble but isn't, and that's no good, no bueno. Now, I know I use arguments a lot when it comes to relationships, but I think in these specific topics, it's easy to use as an example because that's when things get really heated and it's hard to snap, right? Like when you're in like a lovey-dovey situation with your partner, it's not like you're just gonna be like, oh, and like snap at them, right? But when it comes to these tight, emotion-based, like uncomfortable spaces where it's like you're holding back a lot, and like it's hard to explain, but you're just in this aura of like just like anger and like frustration and such. It's That's when like you really get tested, because when your girl comes up to you and it's like, would you still love me if I was a worm and you had like the worst day of your life, and it's like it really tests your spirit and like your everything, to be honest. But anyways, what does that have to do with humility? So again, when it comes down to arguments and disagreements in your relationship, which will come, like there is no relationship where you don't have disagreements or arguments. If you do have that, I suggest you get out, or or I don't know, do something, because that's not healthy at all. Now I don't mean arguments as like yelling and stuff, and like like swearing at each other and just hating each other. I just mean like arguments as one person is unhappy, one person could be unhappy or confused or completely normal. Um, One person has something to say to the other person responds in a way that would not hurt them, hopefully, and both are happy. Um, that's an ideal situation, but that's kind of what I'm trying to get y'all at, where one person's angry about something. Oh, you didn't pick up the milk. Other person just starts crashing out because it's like, yeah, but I won $1 million or something, but you didn't pick up the milk. But we have so much money, we could like create our own business and something. But I told you to pick up, like, it's like in those situations, it's hard not to lose your cool, Anyways, back to the topic. Just humble yourself when it comes down to those small arguments and disagreements. What I mean by that is, my mind just decided to blank. Okay. When you get into like a disagreement, and going back to the example that I gave in the last video about how you have to admit sometimes that you're wrong when you know you're not. That takes a lot of humility. Humility, it's also like humbling yourself for the upbringing of other people, and like for this example, your partner. And when it comes to like other areas too, it's hard to give you a specific example of like humility in a relationship, because I don't really remember a lot of my certain situations in my relationships or past relationships. So I apologize. I don't have a specific example, but when it comes to other areas, I think I know a little bit more. It's always good to be humble and like not super stuck up, I think in the Bible it does talk about humility and humbling yourself, because a humble spirit is better than a stuck up spirit. That's not what the Bible says, but I know in the Bible somewhere, I can't quote it verse by verse, but I know it does say like, be humble. Humility is a gift. It's also a skill that you really gotta work on. People don't like someone who's stuck up and like constantly trying to flex on them, and I speak this a little bit from experience. Actually, I'll give you a good example. I think this fits perfectly. It was grade 11. I was at our school gym hitting some curls, right, with the easy bar. The easy bar is like this little wavy thing like that. And then you put weights on the sides, and then you grab it and curl it, right? I use the easy bar because of my wrist, and they hurt because I can't. Anyways, I'm just there, curling, and bam, bam, getting the workout in. Looking myself in the mirror, bam, bam. This is pretty good. And I was relatively strong back then for grade 11, or yeah. And there's this one guy, big dude, tall, probably 6'3", walks over, says, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just doing some curls and stuff." And he like bends over, grabs the bar that I'm using with my weights, and I think he was trying to like one up me or like, flex on me, because he does a curl. He does like two maybe with terrible form, and then just puts it down and then just walks away. And I'm just standing there like, okay, like what was the point of that? Like he's trying to one up me or something. Um, and I think that's a perfect situation when it comes to like being humble. You know, you don't gotta flex on people when it comes to strength, when it comes to money, when it comes to anything really. Your mindset, your spirituality, like there's no need to flex on people, and I myself am still trying to work on this. But again, I think I've done pretty good. But I think that's a really good example. If people don't like you when you're like stuck up like that. I certainly didn't like that guy at all, just because he's cocky. Like cocky people aren't very pleasant to be around. Um, Now, how do you go about this? How do you become humble? It's all up here. A lot of this is just mindset things, and humility is a lot harder than accountability and like emotions, I would say. Emotions are pretty much maybe at the same level. Um, but with humility, I think it's something that the Lord must do in your life. There are things that you can do, like mindset switches, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It's all in the head, like if you just want to flex on somebody, just have the strength and ask God for the strength to humble yourself in those moments, Um, and pray about it. I'd say just prayer. Prayer is a very strong and useful tool, and I without a doubt believe that God will um, give you the strength to be able to learn to be humble and the knowledge to learn to be humble. Um, Unfortunately, I can't give you like a step by step because there's not really step by steps with these kind of things. It's just practice and failure and just resistance and like trying again and again. And with time and depending where you are in life, I think, I believe, and I know that you will be able to get to that point. But you have to keep trying. Keep being humble, keep trying, and please don't be cocky and flex on people. Please don't be stuck up like it. Nobody likes it. Um, Anyways, that's it for this video. Um, I'm sorry I didn't really go too much into depth with this. Um, I'm still learning, so forgive me. I don't have all the knowledge in the world, but I hope I can give you a little bit of realization and a little bit of wisdom that I have. That's it for me. Hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.